The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 25th day of March, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Mia Chambray, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break, brought to you by People's. How are you, madam?
Hi, good morning. I'm great. How are you today, Jamal?
I'm good. You know, I said yesterday I was going to wake up extra early to go to the gym to try to beat everyone this morning. And yeah, I certainly beat everyone. I mean, everyone.
You were the first person there.
Yeah. By the time I left, there was some other folks in my way. I mean, other folks there.
You turned the lights on. I got up and did some. Yeah.
Weren't even on when I went. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. That's amazing. We're getting ready for the 24th of May.
Oh, okay. That's what we're doing. Did you do some 24th of May practice this weekend?
I did actually. Yep, I did. I actually videoed it and sent it to Maya. So yeah.
Oh.
Gunnar and I were out running through Riddles Bay, and then yesterday I did Peloton. I'm really into Peloton, so if anybody's on Peloton in our audience, please let me know. I'd love to follow you. Pardon?
That's like the bike?
Yeah, but they have a bunch of other exercise routines as well. So this morning I did yoga, 10 minutes of yoga and 5 minutes abs. So just something a little bit slight. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, getting ready, folks. We're getting ready. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, good morning, TDH family. Good morning to you, cousin Mark. Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Tuesday to you, Jamel, Mia, and Maya. It's definitely Tuesday, and an awesome Tuesday to you as well, Suzanne. And greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome the Executive Director of Bermuda Cricket Board, Kel Blankendal, onto the show. We're going to be discussing the state of the local game. The daily players will remember when. Remember when? I don't know if the audience and Mia's going to get this one, but I'm not even giving any hints, but I'll leave it at that. You want to stay around for this daily play. Trust me, you want to stay around for it. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. We're going to jump into today's discussion, brought to you by our friends over at Titan Tours and Express and Secure Trucking.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All right, this morning's show topic, what you want to do before we get started is you want to send the link to everybody you got on WhatsApp. You want to make sure every one of your family members, your friends, your colleagues, your adversaries, everybody you know is a part of this conversation, because what we're discussing, everybody has an opinion on. Let's get right to it. So the Royal Gazette, our friends down over on Parlerville Road, I think that's Parlerville Road, but anyway, So title says electricity hike leading into summer reflects global trend. All right, so Bermuda's power company has confirmed that customers' bills are to rise next month, but said the utility made no profit from increases to fuel rates. A roughly 16% rise in Belco fuel adjustment rate announced over the weekend will come into effect on April 1st as approved by the Bermuda Regulatory Authority. Wayne Keynes, the Belco president, said the move reflects the global reality of fluctuating fuel prices that are beyond our control. It follows a drop in rates that came into effect on January 1st. Oh, how timely. Krista Barnes, the company's director of communications, said the adjustment reflects the actual cost of fuel used to generate electricity, which varies quarterly based on global fuel market prices and overall fuel consumption within our community. We understand that changes to your electricity bill can be challenging. The FAR is a direct pass-through charge, meaning that all fuel costs and savings are passed directly to you with no profit for Belco. She added, importantly, while the fuel component is changing, the base electricity rates will remain the same. The FAR is to rise from 13.36 cents to 15.515 cents per kilowatt hour. The new rate reflects a 13.637 cent fuel rate combined with the government fuel tax of 1.878 cents per kilowatt hour. The fuel adjustment is based on the total cost of purchasing fuel and includes shipping expenses. The FAR, which is calculated quarterly, fluctuates as the purchase price of Belco fuel rises and falls. All right, so homes described as average at 650 kilowatts will see bills rise by roughly $14, and high-use residences at 15,000 should expect to pay about $32.33 more per month. That said, here's your question of the morning. Whew. What are your thoughts on the Belco increase? What are your thoughts on the Belco increase? We're not saying FAR. We're saying Belco. That's who you're paying. What are your thoughts on the Belco increase? And we'll put the QR code up. Right? Because we know some of you might even work at Belco. But do you think the government should do more to assist with rising electricity? Do you think the government should do more to assist with rising electricity costs? Do you think the government should do more? And we'll share the link. If you're on the book, the tube, or the website, you can click the link, all right, and remain anonymous if you choose. But what are your thoughts on the rising cost of electricity in Bermuda? What are your thoughts on the increase in Belco? Mia, do you pay a Belco?
I do. Yes, I pay all my bills.
You have no problem paying extra money, right? Come on now.
Oh, yeah. No problem at all. Yeah, right. Yeah. So interesting. Obviously, or maybe not for those of you who are just tuning in. I have a serious passion for the environment, sustainability, and of course, burning fossil fuels is not exactly in alignment with my beliefs. However, I do understand that that is the power supply that we have in place. I do think that we need some alternatives. I don't really see anybody talking about power source alternatives that are more sustainable. I do know that there is a solar power farm, so to speak, but alas, the batteries are very expensive and other source of issues. And so what are we doing in regards of getting more sustainable solar power or wind power? Could there be a government scheme that supports residents in order to have these solar power panels on their roofs? I think maybe we should look at more alternative. We've got the technology, and I think we should look at more alternative supports as opposed to, hey, we're just going to cut your bill here or do that. Where at the end of the day, we'll still be relying on Belco for this fossil fuel. And alas, it's always going to go up. The cost of living is always going to go up. Funny to me how we just had the throne speech a week ago where everyone was swearing up and down that the cost of living was absolutely going to go down and the government was going to work on that. And then literally a week later, oh, P.S., all of your bills are about to go up. It's, to me, it just reeks of stinks like taco doors.
Well, I think, I mean, again, audience, question of the morning, what are your thoughts on the Belco increase? I think Mia's pretty much taken it in the direction where I think the conversation should be. We shouldn't be having this conversation in 2025. And I'm going to use Baby Rocco Don Lavrock right here. This is it. Like, we have wind and an ocean around us that we should have been investigating as a source of energy. Like in 2025, this should be how we're generating electricity. The fact that Mia actually even has to speak about fossil fuels. And look, I agree with many people. You want the government to stay as far away as possible from most things because everything they get involved in and seem to touch, we know what happens. Right?
Yes, we do.
But, and I don't like the idea of government getting in the way of private business and private entities if it, you provide rules and legislation that don't cause harm to others, right? Mm-hmm. It can be argued that this is causing harms to others. You know, you look at the people who live in the area of Belco and the like, right? Mm-hmm. Something needs to be done to move us away from this archaic way of doing electricity, right? Something has to be done. So, you know, what are my thoughts? My thoughts are pressure needs to be put on this company where they're not as heavily reliant on such. Or someone mentioned it on Twitter X that something else that can be done is government find ways to offer opportunities for entrepreneurs to also offer. Now, you have people offering solar and the like, but in my opinion, there's absolutely no reason that this is the only company in Bermuda offering this in a way. And I like how, you know, language is important, but it says it's not going to basically be a profit for the company. And I know, look, when you own a business, you're not a charity. So you don't want to take a hit. You don't. But something has to change. I mean, is the CEO going to take a cut because he cares about the people so much? I mean, he is a community man, right? He cares so much. See, this is why I tell people. You all say, oh, I'm grumpy, I'm miserable, I'm angry, or all you know, all the names you call me. But you can't call me a liar. Mm. And here's what I'm going to say to you again. Stop falling for the okie doke. Because all Belco needs to do is have a little thing where they did a couple years ago and a bag of groceries with some junk food that's not going to be good for you, chips and soda, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. That's all they need to do. Or, hopefully it doesn't happen, a hurricane happened, and you get your lights on first, and they're the best people in the world, and you forget about all this. Mm. You forget about the environmental harm and the amount of money you've got to pay and the like. Mm. Let's go to the audience. What are your thoughts, audience? Again, the other question is, do you think the government should do more to assist with rising electricity? Well, let's see what the audience is thinking. We've got Kenton Trott says, I have never in my life seen the fuel rate go down unless my memory is incorrect. It depends, because I think, you know, gas fluctuates. Mm. I could be wrong. Shika Reina says, does Belco have a program that allows customers to submit a percentage more than their payment and the surplus is directed to those in need?
That's a nice idea.
Not a bad idea, Shika. That'd be real community there. Suzanne Ingham says, Jamal, don't get me started on Belco and a $14 increase. I'm sick of all this increase and no pay increase for us. But government gets an increase. It stinks. I'm not in favor of it. Yeah, I smell something. Yeah. and it doesn't smell good. Baby Rocco Dawn Levrock says, I recently visited New Zealand that utilizes wind turbine energy. We may not have the land mass, but I'm sure some can be erected offshore somehow. Well, I'm not an expert in this, but does that impact, would this impact the environment, the wildlife in the ocean? I'm just asking.
So yes, it does. There are opportunities for it to actually go catastrophically wrong, but there are advents in technology now that are allowing it to actually work with the environment as opposed to taking away from the environment. So there are absolute inventions in technology that are working to create coral reefs while also creating wind and turbine energy. So that's the thing. Yeah.
See, this is why you're here, because your boy
yes,
spoke French, Spanish, Hindu, everything to me. I mean, I you got me there, but thank you for that. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, many states offer rebates or tax breaks for those who install solar panels. Has Bermuda government considered doing something similar? Well, the fact that we got to ask, Charles, probably not. Probably not. I mean, does Bermuda even do rebates? Like, can we?
So I think what Belco does, and somebody can correct me in the audience if I'm wrong, is I believe that when you have solar panels, you actually can actually sell your power to Belco, and whether that comes off as a rebate on your bill or comes off as a credit, I'm not exactly sure how it works. But back to Shika's comment, which would I think be amazing. What if people with solar panels then were able to give their, maybe surplus of power to those in need? That actually would be even better, as opposed to people having to financially contribute. Maybe people with solar panels or corporations with solar panels could take all of that extra solar power energy and give it to those in need and allow their bills to come down. That would be a really amazing, consideration.
Okay. Let's go back to the audience. Again, audience, what are your thoughts on the Belco increase? And do you think the government should do more to assist with rising electricity costs? 100% who answered using the QR code. And again, folks, you can use the QR code. I'll put it up on the screen real quickly. That's the QR code, and we'll put the link in the comments if you're on the tube, the book, or our website. You can answer anonymously if you don't want your name up on the screen. But the question again is, do you think the government should do more to assist with rising electricity? Okay, let's go back to the audience. What are your thoughts on the Belco increase? So, Kenton Trot says, sorry, I meant I have never seen the Belco fuel rate decrease as the worldwide cost of fuel decreases. Okay, I don't know, but I'm probably on your side, leaning to what, yeah, you're probably right. Baby John Levrock says, rate hike is most likely more than cost of living increases people may get effective May 1. She also adds, add health insurance hikes effective May, and Bermudians are making less. Yeah. Yeah. Shanna Williams, says, I received a solar rebate in 2011. It was an introductory offer. Okay. See, somebody got a rebate, Charles.
No,
Misha Fabulous says, there used to be a rebate program, SPRI. It ended in 2020 or 2021. Why did it end? Anyone know why it ended? We've got Jen McCurran says, didn't the government just recently give Belco a large tax break? Look, man, I do a lot of shows. I cannot remember. Remember that, Mia?
No, I don't remember that. But if anybody has any information on that, we'd love to know about it.
Yeah, I have to read a lot of stuff. I can't remember.
I know.
Yeah. It's tough. Polly Rich says, if I remember correctly, Mia, the rebate was so significantly reduced recently, it now doesn't make sense doing this now.
Okay, so there's no incentivization for people to do it. So there we go, back to it. But if I could speak to Misha, who's listening right now, I know in part of his platform and part of his background is, I believe, environmentalism and doing things with sustainability. So we'd love to see some initiatives come through the government if they're viable and if they're sustainable and if they're environmentally sound. That would be amazing to see that come through. Or lean on entrepreneurs like Be Solar and Greenlight and to name a few. There's many environmental and
there are definitely options. Let's just go to the comments real quickly. You got to bring Maya in for the daily hour news break. Renee Simmons says it does fluctuate. You have to look at your bill. The rate changes, but mostly goes up. During late 2024, it was going up and down for a short period until it stabilized at a higher rate. We've got Polly Rich says not in favor of increase. Yes, government should step in, but unsure of how they can help. It's a tough one because again, you don't really want government getting involved. But I mean, if it's in the best interest of the people, right? Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, I would have preferred that Belco say that they are sharing in the cost of this increase. Maybe it should $14, but it would be 60-40 or even 50-50 split. That would be a real community company. So basically what you're saying, Charles, is the 50-50 split, $7 each. Is that it? Mia, there's a question for you. Suzanne says, Mia, who has money for solar? I don't. Is solar like more? So I guess my question, I don't have. Is it like expensive to install or something?
Very expensive. And by the way, Suzanne, I don't have solar either. Even if I don't even own a house. Okay, so let's just put it down there. Like I'm singing to try and save some money so I can buy a house. Got a second job. Okay. But yes, it's very expensive, but it would be amazing to have some type of relief. Whereas if you were interested in getting solar, maybe the government could subsidize the payment, and then on the back end, they take your power from your solar and use it for Belco, and use it as a chain in that regard. There just needs to be some out of the box innovative thinking. It can't be that hard, Jamal. I mean, I'm thinking of a bunch of ideas just off the top of my head this morning. I mean, just a little bit of work, and maybe it might take a year, maybe, but that's not a lot. A year in the grand scheme of forever. It really, there's innovation that can do it. We just need to bring the minds here. We have minds here also. That are already, hold on, let's be clear. There are minds here that are already doing it. Maybe we just need some technology. To be able to do it.
I agree. Shawnette Bell says July 2024 government tabled Customs Tariff Amendment Act 2024, which will reduce the tax on Belco's fuel. Looked it up in Google. Okay, thank you for that. All right, let's bring my applause here. And folks, this was your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan and Secure.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All righty. Welcome back. Folks, don't forget, we've got the Executive Director of Bermuda Cricket Board, Cal Blankendal, coming up after the news break, but let's bring Maya in. In the meantime, I'm going to do a joke today. You need a joke 2 days in a row. You know what? We're going to do a joke. So let's bring Maya in. We're going to do a joke before we bring Cal in. Because I made you all laugh yesterday, I think. All right, let's hit Maya's music. Hit the music.
Good morning. Good morning.
You seem so bright and cheery earlier. What happened just now?
What do you mean? This is what I looked like 5 minutes ago.
Well, your energy seemed much lower just now versus earlier. Oh, my joke. You're not happy about a joke today.
I mean, it is what it is, Jamal. At this point, I've come to accept it,
So what if I make you laugh today?
If you make me laugh,
you'll buy me a lobster.
What? No, we don't want lobsters.
I'll buy you Ashley's lemonade or something.
Okay. Ashley's lemonade if I make her laugh today, folks. All right. What you got today for us? Well, anyway, first off, do you have any opinion on like increased electricity?
I mean, I think you guys hit all the marks, but I think the main issue is the fact that we want to do a lot of things to reduce the amount of electricity, but it's costly. It is. Yeah. That's like the major thing. It's costly. And other than not using cost, we revert back to a day where, hey, let's bring out the candles again. Let's live in a much, lesser time where we don't rely on these things. And I don't know, maybe that could even be good in some instances, or even try to use some practices that they do in like other countries that aren't so westernized, where I don't know, I watch a lot of innovative things on TikTok where they like poke holes through the walls and like put these bottles or whatever and they capture the sunlight and they're able to illuminate the rooms in the house for like 8 hours and stuff like that. That's like obviously very science based. Like you have to know these things in order to do these things. But it's all about like trying to find other resources that you can do yourself without needing anyone.
What Maya's saying in the most direct way to anyone who's not understanding is this. We don't know how to function after we lose our lights due to a hurricane. That is probably one of the biggest reasons why we wouldn't protest Belco by all of us just not paying our bill. But it literally goes across everything else in our community, because we're not in a space where we can mentally accept that to get what we believe we deserve, we're not willing to sacrifice what we believe we have. That's pretty much when it comes down to. So when we get to complaining and moaning and, and it's valid, there's nothing wrong with it, sharing our concerns about this stuff. The reason a Balco CEO and shareholders can sit up and just go like this, they'll get over it, is because they know y'all ain't about that life. Sorry, Maya, you can do your news.
Indeed, there's a necessity of how we've already adapted to life. It's hard for us to revert back to something that we're already so accustomed to. All right, so good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Owl News Break brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. This morning, I have an original story for you guys, and it is quite in-depth, so please hang in there with me. When it comes to changing laws, history has shown us that movements often rally behind strong leaders, people willing to push, take risks, and challenge the system. But does real legal change always require a public figure at the forefront? So we explored this question through the lens of Bermuda's abortion laws, which the government has recently promised to amend. In this piece, we speak with individuals who have played key roles in successfully pushing for legal reform in Bermuda, not necessarily because of their stance on this issue, but because of their leadership in making legislative change happen. So here's what they had to say. And again, because this is on abortion laws in Bermuda as well, just want to give that trigger warning for anyone who wants to mute right now. It's about 6 minutes long if you don't want to tune in for it, but here's the full story.
Promises change all the time. Some laws get passed quickly with little public debate. Others, especially those tied to deep-seated beliefs, remain stalled for years. Bermuda's abortion laws have been controversial for decades. The government, in its most recent throne speech, promised to amend the law by the repeal of the section of the Criminal Code 1907 that addresses pregnancy termination and the requirement for committee approval. But it's been years of women being mistreated under the law, and yet no bill has been introduced, and no clear leader has emerged to drive the change. In comparison, the fight to end Bermuda's military conscription, that battle lasted over a decade, led by Larry Marshall Sr., who long campaigned against conscription with the Bermudians Against the Draft group. His son, Larry Marshall Jr., talks about their relentless fight, how they mobilized public support, and applied pressure until the law was finally changed in 2018. This raises the question, do we need leaders, public figures, to push for real legal change?
For an unpopular cause, I think it does require strong leadership, because when it's popular, I think it's easy and they kind of get it done without any real challenge. Conscription, in my opinion, would not have ended hadn't it been for a consistent push. Many people came before Baird and were, pushing and fighting and kind of didn't carry it on. And we was able to really build on what foundations they had set.
History suggests that significant legal reforms often require a face, a voice, a champion. But is leadership the missing piece in Bermuda's abortion law reform, or are there deeper issues preventing progress? Chardonnay Painter is another example of how leadership and personal sacrifice play a role in legal reform. She fought for the Non-Consensual Sharing of Intimate Images Act, bravely sharing her own experience to highlight the need for protection. Speaking out was a risk, but her courage contributed to a law that now shields others. In the fight for reform of Bermuda's abortion law, one organization in particular has been a consistent voice, the Bermuda Women's Resource Center. Renee Crockwell, the executive director of the center, has tirelessly advocated for the rights of women, including those affected by Bermuda's restrictive abortion laws. We asked Director Crockwell, has the center drafted or proposed any specific legal amendments to present to the government? She said, while we have not drafted a legal amendment, we have been conducting research on how abortion is handled in other jurisdictions to explore feasible options for Bermuda. We recognize that removing pregnancy termination from the criminal code alone will not address the broader social issues at play. Therefore, we are committed to being part of the comprehensive and solutions-focused dialogue on the best path forward. As advocates for the cause, we want to know what the center would do should the government remain slow to act. They said if the government is slow to act on this issue or any others affecting women in Bermuda, the Women's Resource Center will continue to focus on supporting women, particularly those in vulnerable situations. In 2021, I asked many women about their abortions, and they shared their experience under this current law. Over 300 women responded to whether or not they had had an abortion. 21%, about 70 people, said yes. For those who said yes, 33% said that their insurance did not cover the procedure. In response to this experience itself, some said that in Bermuda, too far is after 12 weeks. From start to finish was about a month for me, so another 4 weeks tacked on from the time I found out. After multiple doctor's visits, the therapist being the most unnecessary, my insurance only covered a portion of the fee, and I was there for less than 10 minutes. It's archaic because the choice to terminate pregnancy can be as simple as I don't want a baby versus what's in the law that I could only possibly want an abortion if it would cripple my mental health. Another said that the process is tedious and, in my opinion, outdated, but after all the steps, I was too far and had to fly out. The official terminology under Bermuda's law is medical termination of pregnancy, and it's found under the Criminal Code Act of 1907. This law outlines when a medical termination of pregnancy is legally allowed in Bermuda. The pregnant person must agree to the procedure, the hospital's therapeutic abortion committee must review the case and approve it, and the reasons an abortion can be approved are if the pregnancy resulted from incest or sexual assault, continuing the pregnancy would endanger the woman's life or health, or there is a high chance the baby will be born with serious physical or mental disabilities. The committee must provide a written certificate confirming their decision before the abortion takes place. So essentially, abortion in Bermuda is only legal in limited cases and requires approval from a hospital committee rather than being a decision solely between the patient and doctor. According to my collected data, 16% of the women who were seeking an abortion in Bermuda were denied. 3 years later, in terms of government acknowledgement, former Senator Ariana Hudson was shocked by a woman being denied an abortion and called for Bermudians to reflect on changing restrictions imposed on a woman's right to decide whether to terminate pregnancy. So, without relentless leaders, will the government pull through on its promise? The OBA promised to end conscription when they were elected in 2012 and did not. Chardonnay Painter and Larry Marshall Jr. are two prime examples of how leadership in the face of adversity can bring about lasting change. Their advocacy didn't just challenge the system, it changed it. As the government expressed its intention to amend the termination of pregnancy law under the Criminal Code Act, the question remains, will it take a public figure or a leader to push it over the finish line? Is leadership the missing link between controversial challenges and real legal change? And if someone wants to lead a change in Bermuda, what should they expect?
Be prepared to live it every day, even days when you want to take a break from it. When you walk out in the public, someone may have something to say about it, pulls you to the side. It is just always in the background. Just pivot and be ready for something different almost every single day, because somebody, when it gets public and when votes start coming to matter or people feel threatened, then they will sort of come at you.
Well, this goes along the lines of the conversation today in Balco in terms of, and I've said this on a couple of shows leading up to the election, Bermuda doesn't have pressure groups, right? I think the terminology is pressure groups. Back when the United Bermuda Party were government in Bermuda, using Bermuda context, there were pressure groups. Whether it was the unions, you had the PLP in government, Stuart Hayward and Best, the environmental group, they were a pressure group. When I think of Bermudians Against the Draft, there was a pressure group. But it doesn't always have to be a group, as Maya said. I mean, all it takes is one person to really, I mean, it's not a numbers game, right? You just need to be effective in what you're doing. But as long as we don't come across like we have to fight or want to fight, or, you know, your mortgage is more important than what you believe is right, and that's fine. You know, I'm not telling anyone to risk their house or anything. Few will, right? But it's not easy. I'm gonna tell you, it's not easy. But how else are we gonna get the change we want? If you're telling me as a politician, oh, I could just go to them in 5 years and make another promise, they'll get over it. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna take some pressure groups. Right now, the PLP doesn't have a real pressure group to get things done. What they have is their central committee. They have their party members and delegates that they really answer to. That's who they answer to at this point. And as showed in the most recent election, the OBA is not a threat to them, right? And because of that, it's going to take another two election cycles to really be of any threat to the PLP. And that will probably require population change as well. So, I don't see much. They have to want to do it because of conscience, not because the people want it. Sad, but true.
I think what stood out for me being able to speak with Winnie and Larry Marshall, and we'll be continuing the discussion as I've also reached out to others. But what you were saying about pressure groups, Jamal, it was also a pressure group with a sole focus. Even though the Women's Resource Center is the advocate for this, they also are the umbrella of all issues relating to women in Bermuda. So it's not their sole focus, but it is something that they will assist and support. So versus Bermudians Against the Draft, which BAD, that was their sole focus as a pressure group.
Yeah, and even with Stuart Hayward Best, the environment was and he's the one that told me that, because I've shared this on the show before, but the late Stuart Hayward, I remember I was at Hot 107.5 and I called him up and I said, man, why were you only care about trees? You got a young man getting raped, and like I said this stuff. And he said to me in the most calm voice, he said, no, that's your issue. It's not that I don't support it, but my focus is the environment. And at that time, I understood, you know what? It's not that people don't want to fight for other things, but our focus right now is this issue. We don't have the capacity to focus on others, but you got that, Jamel. I got this. So, yeah.
Indeed. Now, as promised from yesterday, as I said, there was a statement about 25 not needing the 11 in the session on Friday. So here's the audio I did add a bit of context with it from the minister, Jason Hayward, so you can get a listen in for what he said exactly in the session. Here we go.
And so while we want to provide solutions that can continue with their sound bites, we will continue with the effective implementation of initiatives. Madam Speaker, I once said that the dirty don't need the 6, and it was uproar. Well, the 25 don't need the 11. Because not to govern, to legislate. And if the honorable leader of the opposition can show me where it's clearly laid out that his shadow cabinet have a responsible in the general administration of government departments, I'll yield.
Is that not funny? I mean, I had a good laugh.
It was definitely when I first heard it, I'll tell you that, because I wasn't expecting it at first. But like, it does get pretty rowdy in there, and the background noises, the commentary is quite funny. I will say that there's some statements that are so Bermudian that come out that it does make you laugh. I will say that.
You know, I may not agree with what he said, right? But the truth is, what he's basically saying is that the government doesn't need the OBA's approval, the opposition's approval, to do what they want to do. That's what he means. I'm not one to tell people use better language to say anything. You know me. I'm not that person. I would have probably said something similar, then thought about it afterwards. But Jamal, you probably shouldn't have said like that. Or Maya or Larry, like they do, would have been like, Jamal, you probably shouldn't have said. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if Jason Hayward has a Maya or a Larry in his corner like that said, man, you furnished and said that. But no, I found it funny. I probably shouldn't be laughing because this is serious business. But
it is serious business. But at the end of the day, like the way they do say things, like it's like you're talking to your people, your friends, whether it be your friends or your side, like your group, talk to this PLP group, and then you got your other side on the other floor, the OBA. And then, even OBA Canada came up afterwards and he made a funny joke, even referenced it about like, no longer 6, we got 11 up in here. Like, now we got more numbers type thing. And he also did like give, I guess some praise to like some of the PLP persons and like their history and what they've been talking. Like, so it's a lot of back and forth. Sometimes it seems like it's always hate toward, but there is some camaraderie within it.
Yeah, if you've ever been up there. What's the weather looking like, Maya?
Sunny periods looking like for the most part, not too windy at all either, so that's good. And we got a high of 72 degrees, so 1 up from yesterday. So hopefully if the sun was good yesterday, it's even better today.
Indeed, it is spring. Mia, you got a days of the year for us?
I do have a days of the year, and I was actually telling Jamal this morning before we got on air, today is International Waffle Day. So every single day I give Gunnar a Greek yogurt, vanilla, or strawberry.
Who's Gunnar? Ain't nobody know who Gunnar.
I'm sorry, Gunnar, my son. I'm sorry for those of you. Gunnar, my little boy. I make my little boy Gunnar, that's his name. I make him breakfast every day. So he has Greek yogurt, either strawberry, vanilla, and then afterwards I make him Eggos. So he used to always have, my brother and I used to always have Eggos growing up. So Lego my Eggo? Maya, do you know that? Lego my Eggo. Okay, good.
For breakfast, everybody. Do you eat, like, audience, are you waffle people or pancake? Waffle or pancake?
Waffle or pancake. Ooh, I like both. I like both.
Yeah, and there's these one specific pancakes, the really fluffy, thick ones. I like them. Yeah. But Eggos, I just saw yesterday when I was in the grocery store. Actually, they have a new Eggo waffles out that's like 10% protein. Like an added 10% protein. I was like, I was like, look at them stepping up, trying to get
Eggo's stepping up their game.
Continue this conversation, but we do have a guest. We've already spent like 20 minutes on the news. But pancakes and waffles. We've got some pancakes in the house from Julie, both from Shawnette Bell. Waffles, WKD Llama. We've got both. Sanchez says more pancake, but we'll take a waffle. Well, unfortunately, my metabolism's not what it used to be, so all I can do is fruit and Gatorade in the morning. So I'll let you all enjoy. Before Maya goes, though, I think it's only right that I send her off with a laugh. All right, let's gear it up. We've got a guest. You all want a joke of the day. Here's your joke of the day. All right. All right. I'm changing the language because I have 2 women here today and I'm not getting anything thrown at me. All right. So instead of men, we're going to say people. Why do I'm sorry, it's funny. Why do people take an extra pair of socks when they play golf?
In case they get a hole-in-one.
Yes!
Very clever. Well done, Mia.
Okay. Woo! That was a good one. You know what, Mia? You can make me a waffle next week. I'm coming over for breakfast.
No problem.
Maya, we got you. What did Maya say she was going to get? If I made her laugh, didn't she promise
Ashley's
something?
lemonade.
Ashley's lemonade. I got Ashley's lemonade coming up. Even Sancha got it. Sancha got it.
Yes, Sancha.
Maya, we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Bye.
Folks, don't go anywhere. We've got Calvin Blankendal coming up from the Bermuda Cricket Board. We'll be back in 2 minutes, 12 seconds. Stick with us. All in one.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Unlock your business potential with BDC's General Micro Loan, offering up to $30,000 for Bermudian small and medium businesses. Whether it's for inventory, working capital, or equipment, we provide 100% guarantee on approved loans. Simple application, low interest rates, and fast processing. Apply today and make your business dream come true.
Bermuda heat is no joke. Is your AC ready for summer? A quick tune-up now can keep you cool, save energy, and prevent costly breakdowns later. Call 2920881 or book your service online at bac.bm.
Welcome back to the Big Show. Mia Chambray, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Oils, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, we're a bit behind, but we're going to make up time because we have a very important guest. We're former, teammates and the team we cheered for. I've taken a step back from my role as a Manchester United fan, but I believe he still is. But let's give a warm TDH welcome to the Executive Director of the Bermuda Cricket Board, Blankendal. Greetings, sir. What's happening?
Yes, good morning, Jamal. Good morning, Mia.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me on for the Bermuda Cricket Board to let the general public know what we're trying to do in 2025 and beyond. And that was a pretty decent Manchester United joke.
Yeah. Hey, look, Kyle, you and I used to talk football a lot, man. I can't do it anymore. My heart's not, it's been torn up and burned and stomped on with football boots over the last 10 years. So, man, it's not easy being a fan these days.
And you should have said, why do footballers carry two pairs of socks? Because if you're a Manchester United baller, you probably get a hole in both pairs.
At this rate, yeah, these days. But hey, man, thank you for joining us. I got to ask you before we jump into anything cricket related. Are you a waffle or a pancake guy?
Both.
Okay, all right.
But I hardly eat any of them. So, but on the odd occasion.
Okay.
What you put on these days doesn't come off anymore. So
my point got me here eating berries and apples and stuff. I'm like, man, I'm jealous of her son Gunnar. He got a waffle and all this. Anyway, but hey, look, again, thank you for joining us. Real quickly before we jump into the conversation, just remind people of your role within the Bermuda Cricket Board.
Executive director, so managing finance, operations, anything to do with cricket domestically, internationally, besides the coaching aspects and the technical development of players. All lands in my seat. There's a party of two. Samantha Robertson, who's been here for close to 18 years, who's more like the operational manager and league management, basic administration, and then myself dealing with sponsors, international bodies, clubs locally, etc. But for staff of two, we're all in it together. So there's really a limited separation of what happens. I defer to her quite often because she's been here for quite a number of years. So she's seen the circle of the wagon go around quite a number of times. So when I think I have a new idea, she's like, we've done and tried that before, let's do something else. But whatever relates to cricket domestically for clubs is the BCB, county games, cup match, events such as the Smash are not BCB managed, but we do offer our support in the background if requested.
Indeed. And audience, if you have any questions or comments for Mr. Blankendal, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. A lot has been said about the state of cricket. I think as many people go to, you mentioned cup match for the entertainment, there is still a cricket game that takes place. And for those who are cricket lovers, they use that as a way of measuring the state of local cricket. And it hasn't been positive in recent years. How would you, as the executive director, describe the state of cricket in Bermuda today?
I'm going to try to give a few explanations to make it easy for the listening public or viewing public. And no slight, Rugby Classic is an annual event. We all go if we wish to participate, whether it's for the event itself, the rugby, food and beverage, or networking. But after that week, you don't see that highlighted. 24th of May brings everyone together out on the street. We're celebrating. After that, everyone goes back their own way. We will have a smash event for a week-long activity, and you probably have anywhere from 800 persons at the ground for a week. But after that, when you go to local cricket games, you may see 50 to 60 individuals at a particular match, unless it's a popular game between Bayless Bay and St. David's or St. George's and St. David's. So that is the state of cricket. That it's there, it's present, it has its peaks, it has its lows. The game continues to get played, but it's not as a vibrant event on a weekly basis. But it does offer the development of young men and women, and most importantly, those that are technically and tactically sound have the opportunity to advance and represent Bermuda on the international stage, and that's where the BCB comes in. And that's the fact of cricket and most sports. Even when I was heavily in football, there was a time when I was 12 years old, there was 3,000 people to the game. And you got 1,500, and now if you go to a North Village and Denny Town, if you get 100, 150 people besides the players, significant others, and staff, that's a big crowd these days.
Yeah, but I guess regarding the actual game being played, there are people who feel like the players lack the ability that they once had. Right? You don't see any, Clevie Wades, Clarence Parfitts, Gennaro Tuckers necessarily coming through as young players today. Like, what is being done to improve the game at youth level to ensure that our cricket is getting better?
Well, I think cricket or sports reflects the society that we live in, and so not making any excuses. Look at the society that we live in. Very advanced, very technically based, young men and women looking to do things that were not available during our time. So if we keep talking about the past, which is historical, I did not have a cell phone. I just about had a VHS player. So my outlet was school, church, out in the community until dark when the lights came on, playing football or cricket or running or swimming without a coach. We taught ourselves as friends, and we did a lot. Now with the options and opportunities available and the social climate, all those extra hours that we as young men were spending, and the Clevie Wades and Gennaro Tuckers and others, that's no longer on the front foot. Now it's like you go to school, you come home, you play for a little bit with your friends, you get online. There's less activity even at a club setting where, you went directly to your club after school and hung out, or weekends. Kids go for training and they leave directly after training with their parents. So there's an overall decline in actual on-field training and participation. And then definitely in cricket, which is a smaller window due to our climate and a smaller participation pool with the number of individuals that not watch, but actually get on the field to play. It's a longer game. 50 overs, you're out there from 10 a.m. to could be 7. So you're probably getting at the ground about 8:30. T20 is 3 hours. So the game starts at 10, so you get in there about 8:45 until about 2. So it's a different setup from the football where 90 minutes you're in and out, and you can play nights as well. And there are also a little bit more competitions. But yeah, that's just a reflection of where we are in Bermuda, that society has moved away from being a traditional outdoor setup. We're moving more indoors, and the society's challenges also means that the safety and interest and affluent lifestyle as well. Before, if I went on vacation when I was young, I was lucky to go on the church trip. Right now, kids and families are traveling 3-4 times a year. So that also takes away from, especially in the summer, the availability of persons to play the game of cricket. But this is a global trend. Cricket in Jamaica and other parts of the world, even in our region where West Indies is popular, those islands are also facing decline in youth cricket and trying to figure it out.
Wow, that's so interesting to hear. And hi, good morning, Cal. How are you?
Good morning.
I love hearing about talking about, Bermuda youth and nostalgia. That really just took me back like, how we used to just play and play and play and play and be out and just teaching ourselves. I'm going to take it back to 2007. Bermuda participated in the Cricket World Cup. What is being done to ensure Bermuda can make it back to that level, back to the level of 2007?
Yeah, 2007, historical up until this day. When we speak about it, a big smile comes on my face.
Mm-hmm.
I was not into cricket heavily at that time, but as Bermudians, we know that was and will always remain a significant moment. What we're trying to do now, we've been close. 36 runs the last time we hosted the event in Bermuda. We almost qualified for that. We're going into a final round again in Toronto in June, where we will play Cayman and Bahamas and Canada. So that gives us another opportunity to qualify within 6 games. So we're not that far off, but when you go to a World Cup, it only allows one team in our region to advance, and you have to beat the best teams that are out there. The difference, what's happening now, is we have a very good team, but the teams that we have to play to actually make it to the World Cup, and we say Canada and USA, they have professional leagues. Their players are playing in professional tournaments all over the world, and they have a more robust schedule than Bermuda because they have qualified for additional tournaments. So they're playing maybe 10 months of international cricket throughout the entire year, where Bermuda, if we maybe play 6 or 7 weeks of international cricket. So you can say if we play 10 games, they're playing 50 games. So the more you play in against high opposition, on the odd occasion we are getting close. We beat Canada in one match, they beat us, so we lost a net run rate. But on a consistent basis, the guy that's out there doing it 11 months of the year versus someone doing it 2.5 months of the year, they should beat you on an average out of 6 matches. You might win 1 or 2, but they should beat you with the other 4.
Well, of course, it makes sense. It's a numbers game. And Kamal Levrock, one of Bermuda's best players, has revealed that he's open to returning to the national team. How important is it to have players of his caliber in the national setup?
Definitely. I mean, every country wants to have their best players. So Argentina's playing Brazil and Lionel Messi's not playing, and you will think, hey, that's not important because they have such a great team. But, if one of your best players is unavailable, I know the coaches are scratching their head. I know when Jamal was coaching youth football at North Village, if one of his players wasn't available, he'll probably, say it's okay, but it's like, hey, who am I going to put in that position? So to have someone of Mr. Lavrock's caliber and experience bodes well for any country in the Americas region, and especially Bermuda. We're very small. We don't have a lot of elite athletes. So to have him indicate that he wishes to return is fantastic. And hopefully, with the team having him around in the near future, we can go and try to get close. I mean, we did get close when he was with us the last time. So hopefully he gets us over the line with his ability, and we can now talk about 2026, but also remember 2007. When we speak about 2007, I just looked up a word because I know that Jamal was going to ask me a question like this. I think it was an anomaly. So, it happened. But if you looked at it, did it happen before? Has it happened afterwards? No. So it was a significant moment in the ICC. Now you only have one team in our region that can qualify. Back then, did some historical research. There were 5 teams that were eligible. So now if there was 2 teams, we would have qualified last time with Canada. But there's only one. So it became a little bit more difficult. It's a different competition. More countries are now playing cricket. We now have 98 countries playing cricket. Not all elite, but it's more competitive. And again, I think that was a special moment. If Bermuda brings together a group of young men every 25 years that are actually going to have a good year and a half in any sport, that's amazing, because we're now down to 54,000 people. And I tell everyone, out of 54,000 people, we have to find politicians, which is easy, right, Jamal? We have to find doctors, lawyers, corporation in Hamilton, plumbers, laborers, what you and Jamal do, myself. And on top of that, there's individuals that also have to be athletes because they're not being paid as professional sportsmen or sportswomen. So they go to work, and after work, they have to train, or they take the lunch hour like, I forget what his name is, just on the show, used to do, Larry Marshall. I used to see him running, and his brother running all weekends. And then we forget they're still working. So we are so special just to be on the international stage with 54,000 people. You go anywhere else, you go anywhere in the world, there's no small USA town or English village where they can say they even had a team go to the World Cup, or even a player in the EPL sometimes, or representing the country. So we punch far above our weight with amateur environment, amateur infrastructure, limited financing, no professional setup. But what we do have is we have the passion for Bermuda and the Bermuda Cricket Board. So there's young men and women that actually do it. We want to be them, but I say hats off to you, because you really don't have to go out after a day of hard work talking about you're going to go training from 6 to 9 and then deal with your family, who are first and foremost. So, what we do just by having a team on the international stage competing against nations with millions and millions of people, I'm very proud. I'm not always happy about the result, but I'm very proud that we can easily get onto that stage with limited funding.
And you really should be. I'm learning a lot this morning. I love Cup Match, by the way. And I love Cup Match. I do. I love them. I always go and sit in the stands with the elders, and they bring out the paper and they tell me everybody. And I learned all about the Colts last year and who were the new Colts. And I learn a lot. I love sitting with our Bermudian elders and learning all about cricket. It's for me, I always go the second or first day in the morning, and I kind of hang out and just hang with them. So I'm learning a lot from you this morning, Cal. Thank you so much. What's the biggest challenge local cricket is facing, and how, I think you just touched on this a bit, but if you could maybe elaborate a little bit more, the biggest challenge local cricket is facing, and how are you guys addressing it?
Biggest challenge we're facing is trying to get young people interested to play cricket, and then not only to try it out, but to stick with it for a longer period of time. We know that in the youth sports, drop-off kicks in about 15, 16 when we all get our moped or bike and we become independent, and trying to get the young generation in this microwave world where, if you don't get onto your blog or onto your Instagram page in 30 seconds, you move on. Cricket is a very patient, more chess than checkers. You have to have good health, athletic ability, fitness, but you also have to have a lot of patience. And in this day and age, there are not too many adults that have a 2-minute attention span. And if you're out there for 7 hours playing cricket, for that young individual to gradually get into that space, even a 2-hour game, which normally in football they're playing 45 minutes at a young age, that's difficult. So getting young people interested, keeping them in the game, and then also the adults that are older, they have to modify their training habits or their coaching. That what took place with Kamal Lavrock and Mr. Dwayne Sluggo Lavrock, our legend, and Gennaro Tucker, that no longer works with these youngsters. They're not going to stand still for 2 hours holding a bat, back foot up, lift. You have to teach them in a modern microwave world, and so that means the adults have to change, and that's a challenge even for myself. I would say, hey, come on, it's easy to get these kids out there. Oh, my mom can't bring me, but you only stay 20 minutes away. We used to walk or ride our push bikes, and now it's like, if my mom or dad can't bring me, I can't make it to the venue. But you're 12 years of age. I'm like, catch the bus. Nobody catches the bus anymore. So it's a different society.
Yeah, indeed. We've got, go to the audience a bit. We've got Dawn, Baby Rocco Dawn Lavrock says, I disagree, Jamal. There are a number of youngsters with immense talent. I don't think that's what I was saying, Dawn. What I was explaining is what Cal actually just said. We don't have the amount of people, and I think some of it comes down to we just don't have as many people in Bermuda anymore, right? So I think that's what I was explaining. We don't have as many local. Larry has said it on this show before, that even in the school system, they're not playing cricket like they once were. So that's what I was referring to. But obviously, yes, there are a number of young players who have left the island to develop. Marcus Scotland comes to mind, for instance, in the UK and other regions. But she's asking, Cal, what is the BCB doing or has done to monitor these players to integrate them into the national program?
Yes, so we have a new program launched this year or late last year. Richard Black, who is a physical education teacher in the UK, approached us. He wanted to assist us with monitoring any players that were overseas, especially youth players. So now he provides regional training depending where they're based across the UK. And then at least once a month, those players come together outside of the programs that they're already involved in, because they're involved in their school academy teams or county teams or club teams. But the BCB doesn't always get to see what they're doing. So now they can come together at least once a month. He's able to, with the coaches he's hired, to assess them. A report is sent back to the Bermuda Cricket Board on their development. So now when we're selecting a team, we're not only saying, oh, because Jamal's in the UK, he must be doing great, even though we haven't seen you from up close. we're now able to get a monthly report on you, and then we're able to make better decisions to offer any support services, or even really sometimes get some hidden talent that we may not know that is actually part of Bermuda, and try to invite them into the program. So now we're a little bit closer. It is difficult. We're cross-border. We don't have professional scouts, but there's different ways you can do it now. So we are having some assistance. We're bringing in another individual shortly as well, because the UK is a vast country, and hopefully we can get more insight into those players that are actually leaving for opportunities, whether it's life or school, but still keep them connected to Bermuda with monthly feedback. So that's a very good change the BCB has made. It's new, but so far we received about 3 reports on the young men that are out there playing, and it's working. It's a work in progress, but it's a change we're making, and it's very affordable instead of having a coach fly out of Bermuda every 3 months to follow up and travel all across the UK to see what's going on.
All right. We've got Karen Simmons asking, do we, because I know you mentioned no night games like football, but do we ever play night cricket in Bermuda? If not, why not?
No, we don't play night cricket at the moment. There are lights in Bermuda, but the lights are earmarked for football matches, and the lighting requirement for cricket for the small ball and the safety of the players and the illumination, it's a little bit different. It may seem easy to make those adjustments, but there is a cost factor because the lights have to be higher than the poles already on for football. We did play some night cricket at the National Sports Center. There was a natural disaster where 1 or 2 poles were blown down, and those poles haven't been replaced. So, you can't play football on the northern field, but cricket is not conducive on the south field for an international standard. You may be able to have an evening match, which means you start at 6 and finish about 8:30 as soon as sunset kicks in. But for the safety of the players, we don't have any venues for night cricket.
Indeed, thank you for that. We have Baby Rocker Dawn Leverock says, I also feel that we lack a consistent training program through the winter. Speak to that, because you mentioned, at the end of the day, it's amateur sport, right? So people have jobs, they have other things going on. It's not full time. And then the other thing is, you have people. I'll use a Dion Stubble. Both sports, right? Quite a few players play, football and cricket among having lives and families and so on. So how does that impact the ability to have winter training and program throughout the year?
The number one impact for training in the winter, it's first of all the facility. We do have usage of some school gymnasiums. I want to thank Cedar Bridge Academy and Bermuda High School for girls for allowing them to use their facilities because they're a little bit larger. Then the training consistency is normally based on the activity that we have. So we have the North American Cup coming up in mid-April to the end of April. But if this tournament wasn't taking place, then there's like a gap in the activity of training versus preparing for competition. And what we have seen is that even though we may want to put on training sometimes, if there's no competition behind it, the players do decide to go to a football training or to a football game because that's a competitive event for a sportsman. We can do better on the consistency. I definitely agree with that. But the number one thing we're facing now is that we do indoor training, but closer to competition, especially if it's in the off season, which is our winter, to get the hardball cricket and outdoors with our climate and limited access to a field, because most of the fields are used for football. And then the National Sports Center, which is a sports center, we can try to get it for cricket, but if rugby or any other events are scheduled, whether it's Relay for Life, etc., it doesn't allow us to get on there. So our main focus would be to get an indoor facility. That takes some funding, that takes some time, but I don't see a real change until we get our indoor facility with the nets that we can train 24/7, which is proper and not ad hoc at any of the local schools, which works, but it's not a real simulation of international cricket standards. And we've just heard that from the players as well. It's nice to go indoors with tennis, ball, cricket, but they're preparing for an international tournament. They have to simulate what's happening in the real world of cricket, which makes it a little bit more challenging until the climate changes, which is now.
All right. Dexter Smith said, correction, when Bermuda qualified for the 2007 World Cup, the 5 countries came from a global qualification process. That process remains the same for 50 overs. It's just that we have fallen so far down the qualifying pyramid, a repeat is improbable. Where qualification is restricted to one from the Americas region is the T20 World Cup. But saying that, there was a debate after the Olympics last year, with some in the audience, this audience saying that Bermuda has an opportunity to qualify in cricket for the Olympics. I have no idea how that qualification process works, but is there any prep or interest from the Bermuda Cricket Board in trying to ensure that we give ourselves an opportunity to participate?
Yes, we are a member now of the Bermuda Olympic Association, so cricket is scheduled to be held in the 2028 LA Games. Bermuda wishes to be part of that. However, at this moment, there has been no communication on the qualification process for anyone under the ICC. As far as I know, there may be a total of 6 teams playing in the Olympics, most likely T20. Is that going to be a team from each region? Is that going to be the best 6 teams under the ICC rankings? At that time, no one knows. You know, cricket is a powerhouse of the UK, West Indies, Pakistan, England, South Africa. You know, how do they get 6 teams out of there? You definitely wouldn't probably have India, you know, politically. So I'm not sure what that qualification process is going to be. But I think the best thing for Bermuda Cricket Board is that if that allows us to play another 6 to 10 matches a year as we aim to qualify, the outcome may not be that we qualify for the Olympics, but it will give our players and the BCB and the spectators additional matches to improve ourselves, test ourselves on additional countries outside of the norm, the Brazils, the Argentinas, the Bahamas. We may end up playing islands such as Trinidad and Jamaica and Dominica, because if they participate, it wouldn't most likely be a cricket West Indies, it would be individual territories, countries. So it would change the landscape. So now you can test yourself against a Barbados if they intend to put a team in. So, but we're waiting and seeing. So hopefully early next year, we'll know what the qualification process is, but no one knows yet. So we're waiting on the ICC and IOC to let us know.
Indeed. Thank you for that. We had Baby Rocco Don Lavrock says the interest in cricket needs to return at the primary middle school level to encourage interest and participation. Does the Bermuda Cricket Board work with the schools in terms of making that happen?
Yeah, recently. So for the last 2 years, we've been pushing to get cricket played again at the senior high school level. That was dormant for 12 years. We, in partnership with Cedar Bridge and Salters, were able to make that happen. They played a total of 3 matches, so that was fantastic. Out of that, we've partnered now with Bermuda School Sports Federation, and we're going to have a better relationship with them to make sure that cricket is a little bit more robust in the primary, middle, and high school. So that is an ongoing relationship where the BCB is not part of the education system, but we know that if we don't push it as being the national sports governing body, we have to get involved somehow, especially when it's not on the foot of school activity and youth activity. So we have a better relationship now. So if we can improve from 0 matches to 10 matches to 25 matches to 50 matches over 5 years, in the next 5 years, we see improvement there. But at high school level, Cedar Bridge and Salters have already agreed to resume their competition, and they're looking to move from 3 matches to about 6. So that's already, you know, 200% increase. So that's what we need for youth cricket to grow. So we're doing our part, and if the schools do their part with BSSF supporting us in the background, that's what it's going to take. The missing puzzle is once those kids play cricket in schools, we also need our clubs to be able to have youth programs at their clubs with coaches to absorb those kids that want to play beyond school, to also have a Western Star Sports Club, my club, or Devonshire Rack or Bailey's Bay, to have youth teams similar to football with North Village, Devonshire Colts, and Dennytown. So that's the next step. So we're all in it together as a triangle. One piece of the puzzle cannot be missing, and if we stick together, we'll bring it back. I'm not going to say it's going to be cricket when Slugger was playing or Kamal, but if it's an improvement, at least 50% from where they were, that will be well for the future of cricket in Bermuda and the BCB.
Indeed. Thank you for that. I laughed earlier when Mia mentioned cup match because, again, that doesn't fall under the Bermuda Cricket Board. And you mentioned earlier, we've got Smash, we've got Eastern Connies and Western Connies. I don't even know if we still do Central Connies.
Still do Central.
Do Central Connies. And we've got Cup Match. These events seem to turn out a greater, audience, fans and spectators than just regular cricket on a Sunday. Football is facing the same thing as you mentioned earlier. When I was young, I shared a video a couple years ago on Twitter that everyone was sharing about a game at PHC. They used to be crazy rammed, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned it. It's you just don't get the same crowds, and a lot of things impact that. The amount of people that have left Bermuda, just people, technology, right? More things to do where you don't have to leave the house. But how can we get families back out to cricket beyond the Cup matches and the Smashes and the Connie? How can we get Mia and Gunnar to experience a regular Sunday cricket game at Bayless Bayfield or Devonshire Rec?
Now, there's an ongoing discussion right now within the cricket community. It's been going on for some time, and there's no wrong or right. So historical development cricket, ODI, 1 day, 50 overs. That means that in Bermuda, we have 6 venues where cricket's being played, whether it's a Saturday or Sunday. The T20, which brings a more vibrant atmosphere. So it's 4 teams at one location, 2 matches. So the crowds are a little bit bigger. So it all depends on what we're looking for as far as the atmosphere. The Cup matches and Connie games and Smash, and this has been said by some of them, it's cricket, but it's also a party. And, we love to party. The traditional cricket under the BCB, it's not a party, it's development. So I compare it to you're going to primary school, middle school, high school to get into college. You don't see a lot of people to those activities until you graduate and everybody says fantastic. So when you do the BCB leagues over so many years, you're graduating into being a Cup match player, a national team player, and being selected for the various county teams. You see everyone there, but you don't see everyone when you're doing the hard work. You don't see when Mike Tyson's in the gym for 5 years sleeping on a mattress. But when it's actually on international stage, you have 80,000 people in Madison Square Garden. So that's where cricket is. It's happening. It's smaller groups. You don't see what's going on until you decide to come to one of the larger events. But Cup match, even though the BCB is not responsible, if you don't have league cricket, you really don't have a vibrant Cup match, because those players would have played about 20 to 25 games before they play Cup match. So that is the development that leads into a fantastic historical spectacle and festive party atmosphere.
Indeed. Shawnette Bell's asking, I was gonna make this my last question when the season starts, but she's asking, when will the schedule be available for this season?
Yeah, schedule should be coming out early next week. We had a meeting with the clubs last week, Thursday, I believe, at Cedar Bridge Academy. Once we meet with the clubs, we always take in some feedbacks if there are any tweaks to be done. And once we finalize 1 or 2 details this week, which we're actually working on the schedule this week. So I'm looking at just after April Fool's Day, because I don't want to send it out in a day and everybody thinks it's a joke. So probably April the 2nd, Derek, we'll be releasing the schedule in full to the wider community, to our clubs first, and then to the wider community. But we're actually tweaking some final details right now. May seem like minor challenges for the general public, but transitioning from a football field to a cricket field, the pitch has to be rolled. People have to make themselves available. Sometimes it's the same individual at the club that's tired after 10 months of football, turning the ground over to cricket. So it's more than just putting out a schedule. We also have to work with our clubs, who are the owners of the venues and the fields. The BCB doesn't own any assets or real estate in Bermuda, but we do manage the playing of the game in partnership with our member clubs. And the member clubs are the same people like the players that have a full-time job elsewhere. They're giving themselves sometimes without being compensated to go back to the grounds to manage and administrate after not 10 months of football, another 4 months or 5 months of cricket. And they are really the hard workers behind the scene. Without the club administrators, presidents, and ground staff, sports would not be played, because they're not professionals. They're doing it out of the love of the heart. So we have to give them kudos and thank you right on this platform.
Indeed. Cal, thank you for this. And cricket's a long season. Please don't be a stranger. If there's anything we can communicate on your behalf, if we want to get your colleague Samantha on the show to discuss some of the other things happening, let us know. Reach out. We definitely have space to engage the community. As a child that grew up in and around cricket, the importance to like just community. It was an all-day event. Like you said, it weren't like football, like 2 hours and you're done. It was an event where you spent time with people. And I don't think people understand the impact that had socially at the time, right? So I appreciate cricket. It's as many say, it's a gentleman's game. We do have one more question. Well, 2 questions that came through before we let you go, though. Dr. Smith, naughty rhetorical question. Naughty, he's such a... I'm telling you. He says, how can the Bermuda Cricket Board be the governing body of cricket in Bermuda as acknowledged by the ICC when it does not govern so much of the cricket that goes on in this country? Cup match, Eastern Colonies, Western Colonies, Bermuda Smash Invitation.
Very simple. So the Bermuda Cricket Board was formed after the majority of those competitions were already in place, besides the Smash, because Eastern Colony and Cup match have been going on for over 100 years. The Cricket Board is not that old as of yet. We do have relationships with them, so we've had an MOU with the Eastern Colony, West Central Colony in the past. We're looking to have an MOU with them again. We are part of the Smash, not because we govern and manage the Smash, but the Smash requires a sanction from the Bermuda Cricket Board to be able to facilitate cricket in Bermuda. And similar to a relationship, if someone's been managing their sport for such a long period of time, and we've told the ICC that they were here before the BCB, so they have already shown the BCB how to manage and play the game, because the Eastern Colonies operates independently, the Central and Western Colonies. So we're not going to be a big brother that, okay, I'm here now, I'm going to take over. Our relationship in Bermuda is a little bit different from the United States and Canada, where their governing bodies were set up and then cricket came after us. Technically, those forms of cricket were here before the BCB was formed. So we're actually behind them. So we have to have a healthy relationship and not, a big brother relationship. We're telling what to do. We monitor what they do from a distance, and those events are held every year at a high level and very successful. So, it's more us collaborating than saying, hey, how are you managing your events? Because we can see that they do quite well. So it's a different relationship. I know sometimes we want to be like, I'm in charge. Mm-hmm. I say this all the time, to be in charge of Cup match, Eastern Colony and Western Colony, I wouldn't even have time to talk to you, because managing the cricket board with 2 staff members is a full-time triple job, right? So you don't want to manage Cup match or Eastern Colony or Central Colony. You want to have a relationship with them and make sure if they need something or vice versa, because it's only 2 people.
Don't give you more work. Karen Simmons just wants clarity. It's the Smash New Cricket competition that you're talking about, Stephen Otterbridge involved in. Is that the same thing she's asking?
Yes, Stephen Otterbridge and a few others are involved in that. They're doing an excellent job, bringing a different form of cricket to Bermuda, more of a festive cricket event with international players that are able to share their experiences and show what international cricket is in a very robust T20 format. And the players out of the BCB are part of that. And it just gives them another opportunity to put themselves on the international stage and hopefully to represent Bermuda. We're very happy with the Smash. This year is a good domino effect. The league will start. It will see us. No, we go to the North American Cup, play 6 matches, 4 to 6 matches. We come back and have the league start. We go directly into the Smash. We leave directly after the Smash to go to Toronto. So all of the competitions are working together, and hopefully this gets us over the line to qualify for the World Cup. So, without each other, the BCB or the other programs wouldn't have the opportunity to be where we are, because we all need each other in this small island to run anything, but definitely the sport of cricket. So we're happy with the Smash Group and all others that are out there offering their services to elevate the sport of cricket.
Indeed. Cal, thank you so much for the conversation today. Like I said, please keep in touch. Let us know what's going on. And all the best in the upcoming cricket season. And may the best players give Bermuda the best opportunity to make it to the Olympics and continue to thrive on the international stage. Have a wonderful day, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Cal Blankendal, folks, if you appreciate that conversation, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We have a daily play coming up after this break. Baby Dawn Levrock, Dexter Smith, Cameron Fox cannot answer this question. You're disqualified. Stick with us. We'll be back in 1 minute, 55 seconds with the daily play, and we'll wrap it up. Stick with us.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Nova's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
Join us as we celebrate 5 years and 1,000 plus episodes of community conversations on Bermuda's daily talk show. The Daily Hour Gala takes place on April 26th at LF Wade International Airport. For more information and advance tickets, please send an email to admin@bermudacommunications.com. We look forward to celebrating all that's great about our community with all of you.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, it will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today to find the right policy for you.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to Kelvin Blankendal and the Bermuda Cricket Board for making time. Again, folks, whatever platform you're on, do us a huge favor. It costs you nothing. Whatever platform you're on right now, give us a like, love, follow, share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Make sure you subscribe and get updates for when we go live, and share information that you know you need or want to hear about. All right. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical Wells, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can do this with you on a regular basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, already told you who can participate. It's a remember when. Here we go. Against what country did Dwayne Sluggo Levrock make that famous catch for Bermuda in the 2007 Cricket World Cup?
UK, Australia, India.
Well, I mean, you would have guessed every dang country. Well, it was she was about to name every country.
I was.
She was got to go Bangladesh next. She was about to go Africa next.
Yes, New Zealand.
Bill Walker said India. Charles H. Jefferson second, India. Kent Techland, India. India, Richard Scott, India, Polly Rich, India, Shawnette Bell, India, Karen Simpson. Everyone knew it. Okay. You see why? See, I wasn't trying to be discriminatory, but come on, we couldn't let Baby Rocco, answer that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to discriminate, but of course she knew that. That catch, man, when I say that was one of the proudest moments I felt being a fan of sports as a Bermudian. I'll tell you, probably no moment matched that outside of probably seeing Dame Flora Duffy win a gold medal.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't around for Clarence Hill winning the bronze. I wasn't born yet, right? So that right there, man, I just, and because I had known him, I had met him before, grew up watching him play cricket for Police. It felt good. It felt good. So I'm hoping that many of our athletes get to experience more times and opportunities like that in sport. That said, Mia, I've got to go. You've got to go. Let's wrap it up real quickly. What are your final thoughts? Obviously, we were talking about Belco, Rise, and electricity, and then the conversation with Kelvin Blankendal.
Yeah, of course. So regarding Belco, I think we talked very extensively about the need for sustainability and thinking out of the box and potentially looking back at more solar initiatives or more rebates. I think it's really sad that when we talk about bringing down the cost of living in one side of our mouth, the next week out of the other side of our mouth, oh, by the way, Belco is going up. It's very hard times for Bermudians ahead. And that's really, I draw a line under that, truly. In regards to Cal Blankendal, yes, I don't know a lot about cricket. I dated a cricket player once, but the games went on for too long and I didn't want to sit around, so I broke up with him. Sorry.
Your time, right?
He's not Bermudian, so it's okay. I was like, this game has gone on too long. It was this relationship. But it sounds like they're doing some really great work. Cal and his team of 2 sound like they're doing some incredible work. I have done a photo shoot down at the Seabreeze Oval. I know a little bit about Cunny Game, not just cricket. Pardon me, not just cut match. So it was really exciting to hear that they're working with schools. And yeah, it sounds like they're doing some really great work there.
Indeed. Dexter Smith says, should have asked who the batsman was in the bowler. Well, the bowler was Malachi Jones. That's in Bermuda Trivia, one of the editions.
Oh.
But the batsman, that's a good question, cousin Dexter. Come on, you got to give me this stuff before the show. Come on, co-producer. But Charles H. Jefferson II says, my favorite story about that catch when a visitor recently came to Bermuda and wanted to meet him. Baby Rocco Don Lavrock said 18 years ago and still gives me chills. Indeed. And I can only imagine being his roommate. Thank you. Yes, Robin. I did not pronounce the last name, but yeah, Malachi. I mean, he was so young at the time as well, Malachi Jones. All right. Here's what I'll say regarding the rising cost. It's hard, man. It's hard. You know, I'm not here to advise people. I'm no expert. You know, all I can do is live my life. Someone asked to compare. I have 2 electricity bills, one in my name in Bermuda, one in my name in the US. You can take a guess as to which one is, lower. It's tough. And I don't know what to tell Bermudians other than it might be time to go back to those times Maya was talking about, candles, purchasing, seeing if one of your favorite stores, maybe BAC, has some energy efficient ways of reducing costs. Like they come on and they try to educate us and tell us, right? So I don't know what to tell you in that respect outside of watch the Daily Hour and listen to the folks from the BAC group.
Yeah.
They make some solutions for you. As it relates to cricket in Bermuda, I grew up around cricket. I knew at a very young age, I was playing for nationals with Cleavon Hill, Jamaica, Marshall, and them. I was only like 11 years old in primary school. Most of them were like 3rd, 4th year in high school. I knew at that time that ball was coming too hard for me to continue into cricket as a high teen adult. But I've admired cricket my whole life. I'd admired it probably more than most sports because of the patience it took, which I don't have. Someone said to me, Larry Marshall Sr. said, the 2 hardest jobs in sports, being a leader on the field, is the NFL quarterback and the captain of a cricket team. That tells you how much you can learn from the sport of cricket. As I said to Cal earlier, I love what cricket did for our community. Yes, it's a long game, but it kept us together for longer periods in our community. I want people to think about that. Yes, right now it's about a party and things going beyond, but cricket on a normal Sunday, man, sharing your picnic drink and sandwiches. Somebody's bringing the sandwiches to the game. Like I grew up around that. I loved it. And I hope that we can find a way to embrace it for what it once was. Mia, do you have any daily inspiration for us?
I do, actually. It's something that I researched and I thought, I think this resonates with me, like particularly, but be so happy that when other people look at you, they become happy too.
Man, I like that. That's actually, I love that actually.
Me too.
To inspire people just by your own happiness. I like that. All right, folks, we've got to run. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve the community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Mia Chambray. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.